Toyota's national sales event is happening now with great deals on a wide range of cars, like a sporty new Camry or stylish Corolla, both available with all-wheel drive. Visit buyatoyota.com for more. Toyota, let's go places.
Jeff sounds bizarre.
Eavesdroppin.
Oh, Michelle.
It's me.
I know.
And it's you.
I'm me and you're you, and there's nothing, not a damn thing you could do about it.
But you am I.
What?
I am you? What? No, we are not each other. We are.
No.
Who we are.
We are separate.
I'm just coming out with all of these one-liners because what do they really mean? It's like a Coldplay song.
Live, laugh, love.
What does it all mean? Yeah, exactly.
It is almost my birthday, and I did once get a lovely card from you that said those 3 words that I've always thought were ridiculous. And
I have explained why you got that card. It was because I live in a non-English speaking place, and I thought she can either have German or she can have this shitty
Live, laugh, love
ditty. I went for the shitty ditty, and it's appalling. Even I hate that. Everyone hates that one, don't they?
But we've got to say it every now and again. Live, laugh, love. And actually, you know what? It does kind of make sense. Do live, do laugh, and do love. Do all those things.
Do all those things.
What was that Trainspotting thing?
What Trainspotting thing?
What did they say on Trainspotting? Choose life.
I think it was Wham who said that.
A colour television.
Oh.
No, they do. They say it in Trainspotting.
They do. It's not always a Wham thing. It doesn't always come back to George Michael.
Hey, guys. By the way, I'm Geordie.
And I'm Michelle. And you are an eavesdropper. Did you know that?
You poor bastards. But we thank you for it. We love you as well.
We do.
You're deep in it now. You're thick in it. So well done to you. And this is your second summer special. It's part 2. And this is the supernatural edit. This is because we're very busy, you see, so we like to patch together some old episodes just so that you can remember some conversations that we once had. You may have listened to it. Well, we bloody spoke it in the first place and edited it. Do you think we can remember what we said? Hell no.
No fucking clue.
Hell to the no.
Seriously, that stuff goes down the drain. As soon as we've done the episode, I pull the plug on the bathtub. It gurgles down.
Like a pee in the shower.
That's you. You're the shower pee.
Not a poo in the bath. That's you.
Oh my God. I've never pooed in the bath.
Are you sure?
When you say these things.
People believe it.
They do. It goes out into the ether.
It becomes true.
I have wiped my ass with a slice of bread, but I've never pooed in a bathtub.
Okay, which is better?
It is. It's a soft wipe. I've said that before.
Ooh. Okay, well, this has nothing to do with this week's episode, Michelle, this rehash. What we're talking about this time is, like I said, supernatural. And the reason why, I'll get to that in a moment, but I just felt like it was time for a little bit of poltergeist and cryptid action.
Okay.
You know? We've got something from the vaults from season 3, which is 2022. You're going to kick us off, Michelle. It was episode 40, Poltergeists and Cryptids, the Fresno Nightwalker and Lainey and Ben's haunted house. This is when you, Michelle, tell us the story of Cougar Lainey and her extremely young boyfriend Ben, who moved into a new build. Do you remember yet? No.
Good work, I say to her.
Blank face.
I do. This is ringing some bells.
It's your story.
It's ringing bells. It's ringing bells. And this is why, actually, it's a great idea to do these summer special recaps, because I don't fucking remember, and I bet our eavesdroppers don't remember either, but they're good stories.
Yeah, it's a good story. Basically, they moved into a new build, but it had ghostly goings on, and there's quite a few surprises there. I'm not going to ruin it for you, but what I will say is, if I'd seen the series Ghosts at that stage of time when you told me this story, I would have said the whole setup sounds a little like the premise of that TV show.
Oh, but maybe the TV show was based on that.
On your story.
Maybe they listened to us because, listen, Geordie, you have said this in the past. You know that other podcasts are using our content.
Yes, they have actually. One of them has written in to say so.
Yes, but there are some podcasts that I like, and it's funny. We do an episode and 3 weeks later, they've done the very same.
Right. Well,
or even 2 weeks later in some instances. And I think,
fast work.
Oh my goodness, fast work. We're inspiring people left, right and centre. Oh, good. Just give us a bloody shout out.
Do give us a shout out. Well, with that in mind, Michelle, this is the reason why I chose the episode of my stories, because it's one of my favourite stories. of poltergeist action. And I was inspired because my friend at work ordered a book, and it was a British folklore book, and she opened it up and it was Jeff the Talking Mongoose.
Oh my God. And it's not GEFF, it's GEF.
GEF. The whole thing's bizarre.
No one's called GEF.
Well, Jeff the Talking Mongoose was the Dalby spook. And you'll hear that story. Despite Michelle Margarita having laryngitis, she still managed to get through a whole episode. Oh, and there's also a film, I forgot to say, Nandor Fodor and the Talking Mongoose, starring Simon Pegg. I watched it last night, had to turn it off after about 15 minutes. It was a bit dull.
Anti-rec.
On the subject of talking mongooses, or mongoose, would you say, Michelle? I'm not really sure.
I think mongoose, but it doesn't sound right. Mongoose.
Doesn't feel right in the mouth, does it?
Monsieur Mongoose.
Well, I just wanted to point out this story because my husband told me this whilst we were driving on a windy country lane at night where he grew up just this weekend. And he told me this story about he and his teenage pal, they were young men, Dickon. I've named him Dickon. They did this drive, the same drive as we were on, one dark night. They hadn't been drinking, which is unusual for them. And as they turned a corner of these windy country East Sussex roads, they saw a dancing weasel in the middle of the road, Michelle.
What?
I know. Surrounded by a circle of birds. I was like, hang on, slow it down. Let's go back to the top. Tell me this again. They both saw it just for a second. And before they arrived at where this weasel was dancing with a circle of birds around, it just dispersed. And I was like, what are you trying to tell me? He said, it's what I saw. We both saw it. It was real as anything. It was like this weasel was doing some sort of Indonesian shadow dancing.
Balinese hand dance or something.
Hand dancing, surrounded by a circle of birds in a circle. And then the minute he stopped dancing and dashed away, the birds dispersed as well. They both witnessed it. They were just scratching their heads afterwards. But later he said he saw on a nature program that this is a thing that weasels or stoats actually do. Oh. It's called a weasel war dance, and they do this in order to catch their prey. I saw one on YouTube. It doesn't look exactly the same as what I'd imagined, which is more like one of those meerkats off the adverts.
I was going to say, I've got some AI type images in my mind of like a weasel on two legs hula hooping, or like hula dancing, not dancing.
Hula dancing.
Hula dancing, like shaking their ass.
I think he misremembered it and embellished it a little bit there. Too fanciful, Paddy, never mind. But that was very interesting, and it kind of makes sense when you listen to our mongoose story today. But how's your week been, Nish? You all right?
Yeah.
Apart from the laryngitis?
Yeah, it's been a funny old week. I feel like the days are getting darker. The lights in the sky are getting brighter.
Is it time for a UFO story, do you think?
Well, maybe. But, there is weird stuff going on because I don't know if you were reading the news this week. And this is not so much supernatural as what the hell is going on with NASA?
I don't know.
Yeah, look, it's been in the papers for the last week or so. And do you remember last year I talked about that Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence movie called Don't Look Up?
Oh, God, yes. Yeah, and I saw it.
Okay, what did you think of that film?
I loved it. I think of it now and again when I get a bit freaked out about the state of the world. It's quite, it's quite a dark message.
It is a dark message. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's basically scientists were trying to warn the world of a planet-destroying comet that was on a collision course with Earth. And no one would listen. No one. All they wanted to do was make money out of it, see how they could get more followers, how they could become an influencer. I mean, I liked it. I didn't think it was like the best movie, but I did think it had some interesting satirical takeaways on society and how we, how we put personal grief above, saving the world, I guess. And look, I think actually, and I don't remember this movie, but I think Armageddon had a similar thing where
they saved it at the end. I mean, I think Ben Affleck went into space and actually rescued the world.
This is kind of what NASA's doing. So
what are they doing? Saving the world?
They're preparing to save the world because last week NASA spent $330 million on a new planetary defense system mission. Planetary defense.
Planetary defense against what? Passing comets?
Well, what they did last November, so November 21, they sent a spaceship to smash into an asteroid 11 million miles from Earth to save mankind. They called it a double asteroid redirection test, DART for short.
Okay.
And this week, it hit the target. So it took 10 months to get there. And yes, it was only a test. But so they're testing how they can destroy comets that might be on a crash collision with Earth.
That's mental.
Because the asteroid wasn't really on a crash course to kill us.
But maybe it is now. Maybe they've knocked it off its actual course and right into the way of us.
Well, no, they smashed it to pieces.
Oh, it's gone. Smithereens.
Tiny little pieces. But NASA clearly thinks this could happen because they spent a fuck ton of money on this test.
Oh.
When $330 million. That's a lot of money when the entire world is in recession. You know, we have the Russia situation with oil. We have climate change. We have all of this stuff. I feel like $330 million could have been spent on keeping people off the breadline. But then I wonder, does that make me seem like those people in the movie who, A, don't really believe a comet can, like, crash into us, and B, if they do, like, spend the money on other things? I don't know. It just seems like such a crazy thing to do when you think of the state of the world.
I understand what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I'm thinking about this, pondering. Equally, I would like to know that we're going to be safe from a devastating comet collision.
Yes, I agree.
But yes, you're right about the old, keeping people alive and having a good life while we're here.
Yeah. When you think of the state of our world right now and climate change and pieces falling off the glacier, there might not be much to save in the future.
Yeah. Oh, Michelle, very bleak, very bleak.
It is a bit doomy, gloomy. I know. And it did strike me, yes, as a waste of money. But I also thought, why is it always America trying to dominate space? A planetary defense system, shouldn't that be a, United Nations thing? Why is it just America? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. And I'm sure that if an asteroid is hurtling towards us, I'll be grateful that the USA has and NASA has the technology to smash that shit into
saving the world,
billions of pieces. I don't know. I think there's a few complex questions involved in all of that.
Well, it's interesting that you are looking at the news and reading about this very interesting story, whereas what I found interesting from the news this week was the fact that they've dug up an old Nostradamus prophecy that predicts that no longer Prince Harry, will be the next king after Charles is forced to abdicate. This is according to an article I read in The Sun.
This sounds ridiculous. Sorry, but it just sounds crazy. What's it all about?
Well, we've done an episode on Nostradamus all the way back in our first season when we were very green podcasters, so it might not be the best episode.
I have to say our first episodes were done over Zoom, recorded over Zoom, so I can't remember if it was one of those or not, but we have moved on. Quality first.
Well, as you know then, Michelle, because we did do an episode about Nostradamus and his prophecies a couple of years ago, we did talk about it, and it's very difficult to determine what he's actually talking about. And some of the things that they say have come true can only really be determined after the fact. So they're all very loose. They are, I can't remember what they're called, not couplets, but they are... There's 8 lines in each. He's a poet.
And shit, yeah.
He's a poet. And this book is from 1555. And so the very loose interpretations of his work are then rewritten into books. Like, for example, there's a guy called Mario Redding who in 2005 wrote a book called Nostradamus, Complete Prophecies of the Future or for the Future. And in that, he kind of says in his own way, he says that Nostradamus has kind of said in his own way that Queen Elizabeth II dies in 2022, age 96, 5 years short of her mother's term of life. Charles will be 74 and takes the throne, but resentments harking back to his divorce of Diana persist. Obviously, that's not how Nostradamus would have written the prophecy. It would have been much more loosey-goosey than that. But it doesn't explain to me in the article, how does King Billy get overlooked for King Henry IX?
That's very interesting.
Especially as he's been kind of ousted from the royal family at the moment.
Prince William has always been the one to be groomed to being the future king, and Harry was just the spare. So I didn't make up heir and a spare. That's like a thing.
They came in handy for when King Edward abdicated and made George the next king, and then that's how we got Queen Elizabeth,
well, that's it. You need a spare.
I know an awful lot about this, considering I'm not a monarchist.
No, but come on, we all watch The Crown, and I do believe there's a new series coming soon, and I think it's going to be a good one.
So anyway, that was that. That was the old prediction from Nostradamus. They're pretty sure that there was an accurate prediction of the Great Fire of London, which, to be fair, was only like another century after he made the prediction in the first place. I can't see how these far-reaching predictions would really work. You know, he did that Hitler's rise, but it was Hister, and there's a river called Hister. I know. I went deep diving into it in an episode. I think it was episode 5 or 6 or something in the first series of Eavesdroppin.
Eavesdroppin podcast. And I do think at the time we did poo-poo a lot of Nostradamus.
Oh, we pooed all over Nostradamus.
we threw some droppings over poor old Nostradamus's predictions. But I do think that you can read into anything and put your own interpretation of it onto, especially predictions, and twist things in ways that make it seem like it is all spooky. So if Harry comes to the throne, maybe I will
reconsider our feelings towards Nostradamus.
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced.
No.
So shout outs this week?
Well, no, but we did have a message from our listener, Ray, who we mentioned last week, who was the instigator of the little bitch.
Monica for me.
Monica for you. And we talked about how that came about, saying about you being very, very late, putting your face on when we were waiting to go to IKEA. He remembers it differently. He remembers it being, we were in IKEA. We had done the business of going around IKEA. My son was with us, Killian, the eldest one, who was probably only about 10 at the time. And we got in the car, we were waiting. He said, to be fair to Michelle, she was only about 20 minutes late. And I'm thinking, that's a bloody long time to wait.
I think you guys probably ran off and I lost you. And when you're in IKEA, and by the way, can I tell you that my Swedish fiance tells me it's pronounced IKEA?
I'm sure he gets words in English wrong, so I won't take that too personally.
No, but I'm sure I probably got lost in, aisle 723 and lost you for 20 minutes.
Or comparing different candles or something, or comparing, maybe taking a long time over a decision.
It could be like
a houseplant is for life, isn't it?
They say. But yes, I did appreciate that Ray did put the record straight as it can be, that I wasn't really wasting a lot of time. It wasn't that long.
20 minutes.
Maybe. All right. But he still ended up calling me Little Bitch, and it has stuck to this day. So thank you, Ray.
It's a great name.
It is a great name. What can I do? Love it. Live it. Little Bitch.
Little Bitch forever.
We've been to IKEA and Michelle was still in there. We were waiting sort of 20 minutes. Little bitch.
So, this week, Geordie, it's a little bit supernatural.
Supernatural!
I sort of had an idea for one thing, but ended up finding something which I thought was very peculiar. And it's a couple here in the UK from Buckinghamshire. And they're on YouTube and they claim that they live with a poltergeist.
Oh, that's intriguing. Do tell me more, Michelle.
Well, I will preface this story.
Yeah, that it's a creepypasta made up. Bullshit.
I think you are going to all have to make up your own minds about this because they have a YouTube channel.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it is full of videos of random shit, like drawers opening without anyone in the room, things being thrown across the room, there's no one in the room. It's all that kind of thing. And honestly, because I am a bit of a believer, I guess, I think the videos look pretty legit. I mean, they don't look fake, but on the other hand, these guys are TikTokers And they have a massive following.
Right.
Because they post poltergeist videos all the time. And the thing that really tipped me over the edge of whether or not these guys are serious is they even have merch.
So, come on.
So I'm not sure how I feel about whether or not it's just made up fame seeking or if it's real. But look, some of the claims they make are pretty insane. So basically I've looked them up, and of course, as you know, it's one of our favorite sources. They were interviewed by The Sun. So
2 shout-outs to The Sun
2
today.
shout-outs. We love The
Look,
Sun.
it's making us look very good. Sun readers.
But they do get the best shit. But anyway, that's where I got the info for this next story. So there's a woman, and her name is Lainey Clark. She's 34, and her boyfriend, Ben Hubbard, who's 22, they're both teachers, and they reckon they live in haunted house, basically.
Okay, yeah.
Now, I just want to say, like, go Lainey, because you know I'm all about the older woman, younger man dynamic. So I just want to say, you go, girl. Like, she's 34, he's 22. So loving that. Anyway, apparently, Lainey's a little bit like me, not in that sense of younger.
And that you love really, really young men.
Young boys are my weakness. Always, always. But anyway, no, she's like me in that she...
Boys, 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 I'm looking for a good time.
Oh my God. So, yes, but no. She also kind of believes in ghosts, but she never really had, like, in her life, a definitive ghost experience that really made her believe. But she says after her mother died when she was in her mid-20s, the mother apparently came to Lainey in a dream and said, I'm here to tell you that I'm okay and I'm happy, which I think is a lovely thing to dream.
That's what we hope that we can always do, isn't it?
Yeah.
To reach out to those, especially our children, those who we love.
And to tell them that we're okay and that we're happy and, you know, not to be sad, really, I guess. But it seems that this dream was a bit of a trigger for weird stuff happening in Lainey's life.
So it kind of unlocked a big psychic aspect to her, or a ghost magnet.
It triggered something about her, you know, psychic powers, or it opened a channel to receive, or maybe it just made her more willing to see. I don't really know.
Right.
But in the summer of 2018... after Lainey had left her husband of 13 years and moved in with Ben.
Oh, so she had a different husband, then she went for her son's friend or something?
No, they both worked at the same school, so he was...
Okay. She was his teacher.
Oh, don't. That's just not nice. No.
Sorry!
So they were working together at the school, and she left her husband, moved in with Ben. They moved into a new place, and she says strange noises were keeping them up at night. And they would hear things like footsteps on the stairs, even though where they'd moved into was a new build. And they just thought it was creaky floorboards or other weird noises that they thought, oh, that's just the pipes cooling down or whatever.
Gosh.
Until one day, when Lainey was alone in the house, just taking a bath, she heard a male voice call her name.
Oh, I don't like that.
No, and
Having
apparently...
a bath and you can hear... No.
I know. It's disgusting. It's creepy. And she, of course, freaked out because
Yes.
if you're naked in a bathtub and a dude is calling out your name and you don't know that voice...
You don't recognise the voice.
It gives you the
I
ick.
I can feel the shivers inside that she must have felt.
Oh.
Ooh, I don't like it.
You would be in a nice hot bath and you would get the chills, for sure.
Yeah.
So she called out, who's there? But no one answered and the house was silent.
Oh, God.
I think it freaked her out, but she just put it down to, you know, did I really hear something, whatever.
Yeah. You start to question yourself,
Of
don't you?
course you would. But a few weeks later, after Lainey and Ben had finished dinner one night and were watching telly, out of nowhere, just really out of nowhere, a pot plant by itself moved across the shelf right in front of them and then dropped on the floor, smashed.
Oh, my goodness.
And they freaked out. But that's when Lainey joined the dots between the creepy voice calling her name when she was in the bathtub and the pot plant moving. And she sort of thought, I think we've got ghosts here. Yeah. But Ben was always a skeptic. But when objects started moving around in the house, including a pair of scissors that flew out of the kitchen drawer, and he saw it, he was absolutely terrified and he thought they were both going to die. But he himself thought, I'm a skeptic, but the only explanation here for this shit is poltergeists. And the thing is that after these small things started happening, like objects moving, they would both go off to work, come home, the house would be a fucking wreck with stuff thrown all over the house. It was a mess. And they'd left the house tidy.
Sorry to interrupt. Was this like a slow burn kind of situation? They just noticed bit by bit. It wasn't like as soon as they moved in. And like you said, it was a new built on top of a burial ground by the sound of it.
Or a murder house. Who knows?
Yeah.
It is a drip because remember, they said it started with hearing weird noises, footsteps, and creaky floorboards and things. But and they were like, oh, okay, whatever. So little by little, it built up.
It got worse and worse till they couldn't go to work without coming home to a trashed pad.
Pretty much. So, Ben decided, I'm going to put up a motion-activated camera, see what the fuck is going on.
Very paranormal investigate. What's that film called? Paranormal
Isn't it just paranormal?
I
don't know. I just keep thinking now.
Or just paranormal. And it's said to be based on true stories. And I did watch that.
Really?
Didn't have a good ending. No, didn't work out well.
Whenever I think of Indecency, what is that one where Glenn Close...
It wasn't her, it was Demi Moore.
Was it?
Indecent Proposal. Robert Redford offers her £1,000 to sleep with him for the night. £1 million or $1 million.
Of course you'd say fucking yes. It's like, hey, you're Robert Redford. Doesn't matter. Take the $1 million. Anyway.
I didn't watch that movie, so I can't tell you how.
You know all about it. For someone who hasn't seen it, anyway. So, look, these motion-activated cameras and the footage from that's what they put on YouTube. And I've seen it. Like, I went to their YouTube channel.
Convincing?
It is. I think it looks really legit. It's shit moving around on its own. And I really believe it. It's not like when you go online and you read about, oh, there was a ghost, and they have, like, some shitty, blurry frame of a Yeti with, like, glowing eyes taken from, like a camera still. It's like, if you've got a camera still, where's the rest of the footage that proves this isn't what you think? But this is, like, whole sections of film. So I actually think there's something in this.
What did you see, Michelle?
All the stuff flying out of drawers opening, stuff flying across the room.
Okay. And there was no string. You couldn't see the string.
Can't see any string. So.
And what about a shadow? Could you see shadows?
No.
Could you see an outline of a person or a hand or?
No. But it's weird, and I will put some links so people can watch and see what they think. But basically, I think Ben was freaking out after he watched back all the motion-activated camera footage and thinking, oh, shit. But it was one night, he says, he went to the loo in the middle of the night and saw the outline of a man standing in front of him. And that's when he was like, fuck, we really are living with a fucking poltergeist. And look, you might be thinking like I am, just move the fuck out of that house. Yes. Just get out.
Traditionally, poltergeists are the ones that follow you around, though, from the stories and the investigations that we've done.
Well, I'll get to that. It's very interesting because Lainey says she did consider moving, but they couldn't afford to. They just moved into this place, and moving's expensive, and, they're teachers, and they didn't have a lot of money. So the rent was good. They just decided to put up with stuff flying around the house and stuff falling off shelves and drawers opening and closing, and they just thought, we're going to just deal with it. And initially, Lainey says she didn't talk to anybody about what was going on in the house because she thought she'd just look like a fucking mad woman. And also, she's a teacher. She's an educator. Like,
might lose her job.
And everyone might lose respect for her. And if it gets her out among the kids, like, how is that going to be? So for 2 years, they didn't talk about it.
Michelle, can you see me turning around?
Yes, what are you looking at? Is there a fucking poltergeist up there?
I feel like I might have one in this room, and I just imagined one. I will let my mind go there when you were talking about it, and I just imagined the shadow of something walking behind me.
Well, I did see something.
And only I could see it. Don't do that.
I did.
You did not.
And I saw a hand come and just gently...
Fucking stop it.
No, anyway.
But what's that behind you? My God. It's a spider.
Oh, don't fucking say that. Oh, my God. Honestly, spiders are my worst. I really got the evil eye from your husband when I told him I'd put a shoe very gently on the spider. And he said, that's like somebody putting a house on you and expecting you to live. Well, can I just say the spider lived and didn't even have any broken legs.
Well done, Michelle. Very gently putting a house on something.
I know. But moving right along back to Lainey.
Yes, Lainey.
So she didn't tell anyone. And for 2 years, she didn't tell anyone about what was going on in the house. In the beginning, she and Ben were terrified of the ghosts, and they thought they were going to be harmed, especially at night when doors would just slam in their faces.
Oh, my God. That would just make me scream. I'd be screaming 24/7.
Well, things have turned around for Lainey and Ben because they realised the ghosts were, in essence, pretty harmless and that they just had to coexist with these ghosts.
Okay.
Except at some point they realised there wasn't just one poltergeist in there. There were two.
Okay.
And guess what?
What?
Their names are Andy and Dave.
How do they know their names?
So it was Lainey who thought, I need to get a psychic to this house to investigate what all of this paranormal shit is. So this psychic came and really picked up on stuff. And the psychic was the one that told them about Dave. And as you mentioned earlier, the psychic said Dave isn't attached to the house. The Dave is attached to them.
Them or one of them?
He says them. I think it's Lainey.
Okay.
She says it's attached to them. But I don't know how a poltergeist attaches to two people. It could be possible. And the thing is that the psychic said one of the reasons Dave was acting up is because he just wanted them to acknowledge his presence. He did.
Get it.
Yeah.
It's not great feeling like you're not being listened to.
But then this next bit of the story makes me think that Lainey might be an empath because she says that when she and Ben moved into the house, she started getting really terrible headaches and she didn't know why. And it turns out Dave was killed in a car accident and had received a blow to the side of the head, which Lainey says correlates to the same place she gets her headaches. So could be an empath. Yeah. And then Andy, the other spirit, is apparently, and this is weird, the dead brother of the psychic Lainey got to the house.
I thought that Andy and Dave were together for some reason.
Gay poltergeist, love triangle. No.
I just felt like they were friends or lovers before.
No, they didn't know each other before, but now Andy and Dave have bonded. And they are mates. Oh. So, it's actually quite sweet.
So the psychic brought Dave?
No, I don't think the psychic brought Andy. Dave was attached to them. I think Andy somehow was in the house. And that the psychic realised it was his dead brother.
Oh, that's convenient, isn't it?
There's probably merch. Who knows? Dave's the dead brother of my psychic. I don't know what their merch is.
But the T-shirts, the hoodies.
The hoodies. Lainey says she has her scariest moments in the house when Ben is away because there was apparently this one time she woke up and she could hear growling in her ear and it freaked her out.
No, thank you.
She had the footage, the motion-activated cameras, and she looked back at it and she says she saw either Andy or Dave, not sure which one, lift her hair from her shoulder. And she thought, fuck, man, this is enough. I need to feel comfortable in my house and I need to do something about this. So she then got in touch with a ghost expert. And I don't know what that actually means.
Yeah. And how do you find that person?
Exactly. Maybe she got in touch with the psychic. I don't know. Because she was like, I need to put some boundaries in place here.
Yeah.
And I guess that means, Don't fucking growl in my ear. Don't slam doors in my face.
Don't touch my hair.
And stop, like, calling my name in the fucking bathtub. But so she did. She had to go with them and said, like, you know, behave yourself. And shit like that hasn't happened again.
Okay. So she just put them in their place.
Yes. Now, I don't know how you get cross with a ghost, but I guess a stern talking to. I don't really know. But whatever she did works. And she now says that she loves living with Andy and Dave. And she says she never feels alone in the house. And sometimes when the house is too quiet, she and Ben wonder if Andy and Dave have gone. But
passed over.
But interestingly enough, Lainey says that when she and Ben are like stressed out or a little bit anxious about something, that's when the most paranormal stuff happens in the house. And over the years, she's come to the conclusion that they react or feed off their negative energy.
The teenagers are usually the ones, because of all their hormonal changes and the developmental things that they're going through. That's when a poltergeist will attach themselves.
Yes.
They say, traditionally, those who believe in poltergeists.
Yes.
Enfield Haunting, Battersea Poltergeist, look them up.
Well, I'll just link to the show notes. But this next bit of the story I find a bit weird because I actually don't think that I would do this. But Lainey got pregnant. And let me just raise one quick thing here. Obviously, Lainey and Ben are doing it because she's got up the duff. Yeah. So I don't know how I would feel about having sex knowing that Andy and Dave are right there. Could be watching. You just don't know.
They probably have said, right, we want some alone time now. It's like putting the dog out of the room. Yeah. You go out there. We're having some quiet one-on-one time. So if you don't mind, give us our privacy. We know when you're here.
Yeah. I hope she's done that because otherwise it's a bit like...
icky.
Yeah, it is a bit icky. And in fact, actually, one time when a mate was house-sitting, he heard footsteps. And when he went to bed, he had the duvet pulled off his body when he went to bed, which is a bit fucking cheeky. And he actually put the keys through the door and fucked off. He wasn't going to house sit anymore. One day, Lainey decided to pull out her Ouija board and talk to Dave and Andy. They apparently do it quite often now. But when Lainey first became pregnant, it was the first time she used the Ouija board. She pulled it out because she wanted to ask Dave and Andy if they'd protect her unborn baby.
Okay, what did they say?
Well, this is the thing. Like, I don't know that I would actually do that. Would you do that?
No.
No, I don't think so. These poltergeists were like, yep, okay. And I don't know if she was doing it to try and include them in the family and the festive feeling of the baby or what it is.
Mixed messages, Lainey, mixed messages. One minute you want them there, next thing you don't.
I don't like the idea of like, please protect my unborn baby. It's a bit Rosemary's Baby. I don't know. It's just don't involve a baby in a poltergeist scenario. It's not good. But anyway, Lainey says that Dave was convinced her baby was going to be a boy.
And?
It was a boy.
Oh.
It was a boy. I mean, fair play. He did have a 50-50 shot at that. But anyway.
Yeah. Well done, Dave.
The upshot of this is that they are convinced that they live with Auntie and Dave, who are two poltergeists who are protecting their baby. But also, Lainey says that she is convinced also that there is life beyond death. And after our chat last week about consciousness and what that means, I don't really know what to think of Lainey's story because, as I mentioned last week, so much anecdotal evidence of people saying ghosts, poltergeist spirits, this and that. I don't know. Up to you to decide. But that is the story of Lainey and Ben. And I will link that shit up in the show notes.
Amazing, Michelle. Thank you for that. It's fascinating. And I do find it really interesting to think about. When you're telling me the story, I think, yeah, whatever. And, you know, we've been watching the Osbournes Want to Believe and you see all these things and you think, oh, that's just a piece of string or that's definitely one of those foil balloons that have legs and that's just being lifted up and dropped down again. It's not a witch on a broomstick. Your mind kind of like fills in the gaps and says, no, that's just something. It's not always the supernatural excuse or reasoning behind these events. But it sounds to me like they have conversations, that they're absolutely convinced that they're there. There's no denying the footage that you've seen of things flying out about everywhere. And apart from the fact that they're doing a massive hoax, what's what's the reality here?
Well, I mean,
it's hard to know, isn't it?
I don't know how much money they're making from being like very successful TikTok influencers and selling merch. That's the angle that kind of trips me up here, I think. Oh, is there ulterior motive? But I will link to the footage and you can make your own mind up. I thought it looked pretty legit, but you and I have disagreed on things where I've been like, oh, it looks really scary. And you've been like, fake.
That's an animation.
So...
Yes. I'd like to see that. Thank you. Thank you for that story, Michelle. That's fantastic.
Supernatural. Ghost is in a wall. Supernatural. Poltergeist at all. Supernatural. We are chatting supernatural. Supernatural.
El rugido de los aficionados, el ritmo de las porras, la intensidad en la cancha. Esto es más que solo un partido de fútbol. Con DraftKings Sportsbook, esta es tu oportunidad de convertir cada jugada en una gran ganancia. Descarga la app de DraftKings Sportsbook y usa el código HEART. Ese es el código HEART para que los nuevos usuarios reciban $200 en bonus bets al instante cuando apuestes solo $5. En asociación con DraftKings, la corona es tuya. ¿Problemas con el juego? Llama al 1-800-GAMBLER. En Nueva York, llama al 877-8-HOPE-NY o envía un mensaje de texto con la palabra HOPE-NY al 467-369. En Connecticut, hay ayuda disponible para problemas con el juego. Llama al 888-789-7777 o visita ccpg.org. Juega responsablemente. En nombre de Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Debe ser mayor de 21 años. La elegibilidad varía según la jurisdicción. No válido en Ontario. Pueden aplicarse cargos en Illinois. Las apuestas de bonos son de un solo uso. La apuesta no se incluye en las ganancias y caducan después de ser otorgadas. La oferta finaliza el 29 de septiembre 2025 a las 11:59 p.m. hora del este. Los términos en DraftKings.com/sportsbook/promos.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. They're the home of the #1 checkout on the planet and the not-so-secret Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales happening. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds and Skims use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/start selling. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/start selling to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/start selling.
Well, Michelle, I too listened to the History of Ghosts on Radio 4. And the reason why I'm not that technically adept listening to it on speakers in my car on a trip to the shops, it's because it was on Radio 4. And I was listening to the radio.
I love Radio 4.
Yeah, it's fabulous. So it's only 10 or 15 minutes long, like you said. And my one was about poltergeists. And you know how we love a poltergeist around here, Michelle.
We do. We are in the city of poltergeists.
Well, we did do that episode previously this season, which means 2021.
Yes.
And I can't remember which number episode it was, but it was called London Poltergeists, where you discussed the case of Mrs. I can't remember her name, but I do mention her later, the housewife in Thornton Heath. And I talked about the Battersea ghost, which was Shirley, and Janet in Enfield, the Enfield haunting. So if you'd like to hear about those stories, you'll have to go back and listen to that episode, which is really good. I really enjoyed that episode because I find this fascinating, and I find the story of the Enfield haunting thoroughly fascinating. If you ever get to watch the miniseries with Timothy Spall, it's really good. And also, Guy Fairplay is played by the guy in Succession, Tom Wormsbams, whatever his name is, Matthew McFadyen, Shiv's husband, Tom.
He's kind of a weird guy because he plays so many different characters and yet he's always the same. And yet he's kind of always the same.
No, I think he's always different.
So creepy in Succession. You don't fancy him, do you?
God, no. God, no.
No.
God, no. I shouldn't have said that. He's a very handsome man, but he's not my type.
No, he's not my type.
I'm going to tell you about, it's called the Dalby Spook.
What? Never heard of this.
In the Isle of Man, September 1931, James and Margaret Irving and their 13-year-old daughter, Voirrey, which is a really unusual name, Voirrey, They lived in a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere in the Isle of Man. I've never been to the Isle of Man. Have you been?
No, never.
Well, I think it's quite... I don't know. It feels like quite magical. I don't know. They've got a cat, haven't they? The Manx cat. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know enough about it. But anyway, they lived in this farmhouse which had wooden wall panels. And one day they began hearing scratching sounds from behind the walls. They also heard voices and rustling and all sorts of strange, like they thought there was animals trapped in there or at one point they thought it was a baby trapped behind the wall because they could hear a baby crying. It was very bizarre. This went on for a while. And then eventually they would start knocking back, or at one point the dad, James, was growling through the wall like a dog because he thought he wanted a response. Well, he was shocked when the growl was returned. Then they heard a high-pitched, at that point I think Voari started singing nursery rhymes to it and it would sing them back.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
In this really weird, clear, high-pitched voice. Ultimately, it was revealed to be a talking mongoose called Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
It's spelled GEF. He was small with yellow hair and a big bushy tail. And Jeff told them he was born in Delhi in 1852 and had lived with a tall man who wore a green turban on his head, a hunchback, and a man by the name of Holland. And by the time he took up with Holland, Jeff had made his way to Egypt. And Holland was the one who then took him from Egypt to England. So Jeff's been all round the blocks.
Been around the houses.
Yeah. He told them he was an earthbound spirit and a ghost in the form of a mongoose.
Because I was about to say, a mongoose is an animal. How is this animal talking? I got very confused. And I actually, while you were talking, I just Googled mongoose because I'm like, I don't understand what she's talking about.
Like a ferret or a weasel.
Do you know what it says? A mongoose is a small terrestrial carnivorous mammal.
Carnivorous? That's a worry.
Yeah.
Because I know things about Jeff, so that's a bit worrying.
Really? I mean, they're quite cute, but...
I don't know if Jeff was.
Oh, okay. Oh, my God.
Anyway.
I want to know. Tell me more about Jeff.
He warned the Irving family that he was extra, extra clever, but not always kind.
No.
He said, I am a freak. I have hands and I have feet, and if you saw me, you'd faint. You'd be petrified, mummified, turned into a stone or a pillar of salt.
Whoa.
He also said all sorts of things. He said also, I can split the atom, and I'm the eighth wonder of the world, and all sorts of crazy things Jeff came out with.
Oh, my God. Jeff sounds bizarre.
Well, he was bizarre. And he started out doing, like, he was a bit like once they got used to him, he was a bit like a little pet. And he would take on household jobs around the house. Like, he'd guard their house and he'd let them know if guests were arriving. He didn't like guests very much. He'd tell them to F off or piss off. He swore a lot as well. And if somebody forgot to put out the fire, Jeff would put it out.
So how, can I ask, how was he manifesting?
Well, to be fair, only Voari could see him, but everybody could hear him.
Oh.
But at one point, actually, I think James does say that he has seen him as well.
And it was a very clear voice.
Yep.
Shit.
Clear, high voice. The family would actually leave food out for him. And in the morning, the food would be gone and he would tell them what he'd eaten. He'd be chattering away in the morning in this really weird, clear, high voice. Sometimes Jeff would say he had left the house and caught rides around town hanging off the back of cars and other vehicles. And when he came back, he'd tell them all the latest gossip. And sometimes he'd even kill rabbits for them and leave them on the doorstep for the Irvings to make supper. He was a busy boy.
He was.
Oh, I don't know if it was a boy. He was a mongoose. The world heard about Jeff, and it was the talk of the island. The entire world was captivated by these tales of the talking mongoose, who is said to speak in a range of foreign languages. He was multilingual, Michelle.
This guy, he's a talent.
He could speak Hindustani, as well as singing, whistling, coughing in a human manner, swearing, dancing, and attending political meetings. He also gave a reporter some betting tips.
This is getting more and more.
I know it sounds like a creepypasta, but it's not. This is something that happened. This is well documented. True to his word, Jeff could be cruel, though. He would lose his temper, and once he called James a fat-headed gnome.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Not very nice, is it? He seemed obsessed with Vari, and when her parents moved her bed into their room because she was frightened to sleep on her own because of Jeff, he cried out, "I'll find her wherever you go!"
Oh, God. Creepy.
Yeah, he made threats to kill the family.
Stalker.
He threw things. He threw ointment jars, packing case needles. What are they? Stones, and even heavy pieces of furniture.
Okay. So he's got a temper.
He had a temper. He'd say things like, he'd threaten them and say things like, I'm not evil. I could be if I wanted. You don't know what damage or harm I could do if I were roused. I could kill you all, but I won't.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for sparing
Jeff.
everyone.
We'll all sleep well tonight, Jeff. Thanks for that. The papers got hold of the story, and soon the paranormal investigators arrived. So they believed the mongoose was a poltergeist attached to teenage Voiri. But other ideas were that Voiri was making the sounds of Jeff speaking by using ventriloquism. And one reporter said he could hear the voice, but he also noticed that she had her fingers to her lips when it was happening. So
all the time? Surely the parents would have seen that as well.
That's the thing. Yeah, I don't know if it was all the time. But the family were an odd family. It was James's second marriage, like almost a second life. He was previously quite a well-to-do piano salesman, and then they sold up. He remarried Margaret, and he already had two older girls who had grown up and moved on. And he and Margaret moved to the middle of nowhere, to this isolated place in Isle of Man. They never integrated with the community. They had no phone, no electricity, didn't like visitors. They were very isolated. They were much older than Vari. It was a big age gap. Like, they were elderly parents, and people thought it was a bit odd, this young girl living with these aged parents. And some believe, as a result, that the family developed mental health problems.
Oh. Well, so you do have to wonder if there were mental health issues before Jeff made an appearance. Because, I don't know.
As you'll find out, the reporters and some of the paranormal investigators felt that the family were straight up and
really
and honest and authentic. Yeah, and they believed what they were saying. The family believed it, so they had to go about either proving or disproving. And in July 1935, paranormal investigator Harry Price visited, and there's a book by Harry and another man called The Haunting of Cashin's Gap. I think it's called Cashin's Gap, which is the area that they lived in. He said that he didn't believe the story, but equally he didn't think that the family had made it up. So I don't know quite what that meant he did think.
Well, it's interesting because while I was doing my research, I came across this article about spirits or schizophrenia. And, because they say often what's heard of voices, some people find it distressing and think that they have a mental health problem, or it leads to a mental health diagnosis. And other people are excited about it and think that they are psychics and mediums and channeling. It comes down to how you sort of interpret it. And there's been studies, there was research conducted at Durham University, and they actually called it Hearing the Voice Project. And they basically surveyed all these spiritualists who said, hearing voices was a normal part of their lives. It basically said it comes down to learning and yearning, and it comes down to how somebody's reaction is to hearing the voices. I think there's more to it, but I don't think you can sort of disregard that somebody might be schizophrenic. I think that's quite difficult, but definitely in your family's case.
Not my family, Michelle.
No, sorry. In your story's case, they're all hearing the voices.
Yeah, they all are. And a reporter heard too, and some other locals have said they heard it as well. So fur samples were taken. There's plasticine molds of foot and hand prints of Jeff. Pictures taken of fingers coming out of the wall and weird things. I saw them, but I couldn't really make out what they were. But the fur samples were tested and showed to be that of a dog. And they think it might have been the family sheepdog, Mona. So anyway, Dad James died in 1945 and the family sold the farmhouse. And that seemed to be the end of Jeff, despite the fact that the new owner said he had shot and killed a strange-looking animal, but it was black and white, and Voiri said it wasn't Jeff at all. She'd seen the picture of the thing that he killed, or maybe heard the description. So she went to her grave in 2005 insisting that they had not made it up.
But did she ever talk in her adult life about it?
Yes, she did. She gave one interview, but I'm going to talk about that in a minute because at the moment I'm going to tell you. Harry Price gained public prominence for his investigations into psychical phenomena and also by exposing fraudulent spiritualist mediums. And when he visited the Irvings and observed that those double walls with the wooden panelling were covering the interior rooms of the old stone farmhouse, there was a lot of interior airspace in the middle between the two walls, like the stone and the wooden panels.
Okay.
And he said that the wooden walls made the whole house one great speaking tube with walls like sounding boards.
Right.
And by speaking into one of the many apertures in the panels, it could be possible to convey the voice to various parts of the house.
Okay.
It could be that it was some sort of trick that was being
I was going to say some kind of elaborate hoax,
Yeah.
but that's a lot of effort to go through for what?
And it was for years, 10 years at least this went on for. And it was also said that Harry Price was less than enthusiastic about this particular case. And he concluded that the physical evidence was proved to be dogs or other animals. Yet still, he couldn't rule out the idea that Geoff might be real, despite not having spoken to him directly.
Okay.
Most people believed Voari was performing these great feats of ventriloquism, but her father, James, was absolutely adamant that it wasn't her.
Yeah.
Do you remember we spoke about the Thornton Heath case?
Yeah.
Now, do you remember your Bulgarian paranormal investigator called Nandor Fodor?
Oh, yes, Nandor.
Nandor Fodor.
So he's made an appearance?
He makes an appearance here. So he pioneered the theory that poltergeists are external manifestations of conflicts within the subconscious mind rather than autonomous entities with minds of their own.
Okay.
So do you get that? Do you understand what that is? Yeah.
Break it down.
So break it down. So he said that instead of it being something that you don't control that's just there causing your furniture to fly around the room, it's something that manifests externally. It comes out of you without you realizing because it's a subconscious thing. You're not even aware of it. That's why poltergeists, he was the one that linked teenage girls and adolescents to poltergeists.
That's right.
Yeah. He said that poltergeists were usually caused or generally caused by people in distress or traumatized.
Right.
And as we said before, Michelle, in 1938, Fodor investigated the Thornton Heath poltergeist case that you spoke about, which involved Mrs. Forbes. I can't remember her first name.
Me either.
That was in the poltergeists episode, if you want to hear about that. That was quite an incredible story, though, because Mrs. Forbes did things like manifest a piece of jewellery that was under a glass case and they came out of the shop and it was in her hand. You know, it was mental.
Yeah.
But he explained that Mrs. Forbes's unconscious mind was responsible for all those goings on and that they weren't mysterious spirits. And he also claimed that Mrs. Forbes had incurred sexual trauma during her childhood. She had been abused as a child and that trauma had been repressed. And that was the cause of her poltergeist activity.
Right.
But his pals at the Institute of Psychical Research did not agree with that, so he then lost a lot of respect after making that claim. But he did say that poltergeists are an unmitigated affliction. So basically what he means by that is they're in a very annoying presence and it's not a fun thing to have. Whereas Geoff is an asset because he puts the fires out and he puts rabbits at the back door. So Geoff is actually quite nice to have around by other people's standards.
Well, he's helping out. He's pulling his weight.
He's pulling his weight a bit like you at the moment, Michelle.
Oh,
around here.
Thanks, Joel.
But anyway, so Voari was not the only one to, as I mentioned before, she wasn't the only one to have witnessed Geoff. He lived there for about 10 years. So her father also witnessed Geoff, James. So the whole family, I think, had definitely heard Geoff and the reporter as well who came in. He also heard that strange, clear, high voice. What Fodor thought of this was that Geoff was actually a split-off part of James Irving's unconscious.
Huh.
He said that James, or Jim, was a man who failed in life. Do you remember he was a very successful piano salesman before they moved to the Isle of Man? And it was his second marriage. Nandor Fodor's idea was that Jim was a man who failed in life and whose many passions were too strong to bear this failure with resignation. As a commercial traveller, that's what he used to do with his job before, his horizons were too wide, both physically and mentally. So to reconcile himself to the cabined and confined life of a sheep and goat farmer in a godforsaken spot where he was constantly struggling against physical starvation, that had caused him to split off part of his personality.
What do you think of all this?
Well, I'm not sure. He felt that his unconscious took care of the job and produced this strange hybrid of Geoff, fitting no category of humans, animals or ghosts, yet having common features with all of them. And he also said that Irving had been a student of psychical research.
Okay.
So he thinks that that Geoff was born from someone who had already had an interest in the occult and the netherworld. And that's why he feels that it was down to Jim at the end of the day, the dad.
I don't know what I think about that, because obviously the little girl was the one getting all the attention, and actually who that Geoff was most keen to communicate with. And I mean, I guess it could be because if that's the grandfather that you were saying split off, like had energy split off.
No, not the grandfather, it's her father.
Oh, her father.
Yeah. He's older, but it's her father.
September 15th through the 19th, America's clean energy leaders are coming together in Washington, D.C. for National Clean Energy Week. Join policymakers, innovators, and business leaders to shape our energy future and keep America at the forefront of clean energy solutions. Learn more at nationalcleanenergyweek.org.
Look, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I think for me, the jury's out.
Well, what about the fact, Michelle, that when Jim died, there was no more Geoff?
Right. Yeah, but that's quite a strong manifestation.
Isn't it? It's quite unusual.
But that's almost like a poltergeist of a spirit that's not dead yet.
No, it's a new invention. It's like Fodor said, it's part ghost, part animal, part... I can't remember.
Yeah, it had all the characteristics of all different things.
Human, animal and ghost.
So...
hybrid.
That's kind of blowing my mind a bit, because...
But it wasn't her, it was the dad.
Yeah, but that's even possible?
I know. This clear, high voice that when the reporters heard it, they said it was not the sort of voice that would ever come from a human. It was just too weird.
I just can't even imagine what that voice must sound like.
No, me either.
Can you do
something like this?
But that's so human.
I don't know.
I don't know
but listen,
either.
You asked me earlier.
What about something like this?
It's clear and high. Clear and high.
Oh, okay.
Clear and high. But listen, you asked me earlier if Wari had ever spoken about this as an adult. And yes, she did. She gave one interview before she died. I don't know how old she was.
Okay.
But she gave one interview as an adult about her alleged experiences and her family's experiences with Geoff. Mm-hmm. And although later during his years with the family, he seemed protective of her, Geoff, that is, she didn't remember him fondly at all. She said, Geoff was very detrimental to my life. We were snubbed by the community. The other children used to call me the spook. I had to leave the Isle of Man and I hope that no one where I work now ever knows the story. She even believed that Geoff was responsible for her never having married.
No! Geoff, you bastard!
You bastard. She said, how could I ever tell a man's family about what happened?
Well, you don't have to.
You don't have to. You can keep secrets, love. I mean, we all do. Anyway, the last thing she said on the subject was, I wish he had left us alone.
God, and imagine if that really was the dad. What was the point?
I know.
What was the point? Maybe he wasn't even in control. But I can see Wari's point as well, because it's not cool to be the weird girl who has
with
a
the spook in your
poltergeist best
the
friend.
Whole island. Not the whole island and the whole world knows about it.
And that island's getting unwanted and unwelcomed attention, really, from the media. So... yeah, I get it. But she didn't dispute that it happened. That's what I was sort of angling at when I asked about Wari. Did she, in later life, say, yeah, we made it up? But
never.
No,
she didn't. She said it happened.
Yeah. God, I don't know what I think about this. I think that's really interesting. Thank you so much for talking about that. Now I need to ponder whether or not. I mean, the fact it's a mongoose. Who even comes up with a mongoose?
Nuts. I know. But I'm now imagining the Isle of Man to be some windswept, God-forsaken, island, like a little bit like sort of those Wicker movies. What am I thinking of? That film,
like Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man, exactly.
Yes.
The Wicker Man. I'm thinking of somewhere like that now, and I really want to go visit it. Should we
do it? Shall we do
it?
Do
we do it?
Yeah.
The house has been burnt down now. It doesn't exist anymore.
They always
and of course,
do that.
The owner of the guy who bought the house from the Irving family said that he shot and caught a strange animal that he believed to be Jeff.
Okay.
But, Jeff had actually stopped hanging about, or there was no more activity of Jeff after Jim Irving's death.
Yeah. Yeah, that is quite a coincidence.
Yeah.
So did Fodor come up with the theory before the dad had died?
Oh, I don't know, actually. I don't know when he came up with that theory. That's an interesting point.
I wonder. Maybe
I think it was before.
Well, I'll do some research and put some links and maybe we'll learn. But wow, what a story. What a story. Yeah. Thank you.
It's good, isn't it? He also said something along the lines of, I am from the fifth dimension. I am from the fifth dimension. And we hear a lot about the fifth dimension these days. That's something that the QAnoners are really into. It's a new generation. And I don't know if they're talking about the telephone masks, 5G. I did say mask. That's right. I meant mast.
I knew you meant mask, but I just let it go. Because I have to say, apologies. I know I know I'm not at my best today, and I do have to confess I'm very, very hungover from an amazing night dancing in Dalston. So that it was really fun to just dance my little tush off. I had a great time.
Reliving your youth.
But it has had an effect. My brain is slow.
You're slow. Oh, no, I think you did a good job. Don't be hard on yourself. It was good.
Thanks, Star.
But you know what? We can go and make a cup of tea and sit down and catch up on I'm a Celebrity, or we can watch Succession. It's on tonight. Well, do you know what, Michelle? I think it's time for us to wrap it up because you're about to collapse. So.
Oh, well, look, thank you again for amazing stories.
And thank you. But let's remind our listeners that you can like, subscribe and share. Please tell your friends. We need the support. Go to eavesdroppin.com at our website, or go to Spotify to listen to things, or go to YouTube and sign up as one of our subscribers and you'll get to see all the videos. If you're not on social media, then you won't see the dancing and the silly videos.
That's true. And just a small correction, eavesdroppinpodcast.com.
Thank you very much, Michelle.
And
okay. Finally, what we need to tell you is,
whatever you do,
wherever you are, just
keep on eavesdropping.
Eavesdropping, eavesdropping, dropping, eavesdropping, dropping, eavesdropping, eavesdropping, dropping, dropping, eavesdropping, eavesdropping all day long. Eavesdropping, this is the song. Drop it like it's hot.
El rugido de los aficionados, el ritmo de las porras, la intensidad en la cancha. Esto es más que solo un partido de fútbol. Con DraftKings Sportsbook, esta es tu oportunidad de convertir cada jugada en una gran ganancia. Descarga la app de DraftKings Sportsbook y usa el código HEART. Ese es el código HEART para que los nuevos usuarios reciban $200 en bonus bets al instante cuando apuestes solo $5. En asociación con DraftKings, la corona es tuya. ¿Problemas con el juego? Llama al 1-800-GAMBLER. En Nueva York, llama al 877-8-HOPE-NY o envía un mensaje de texto con la palabra HOPE-NY al 467-369. En Connecticut, hay ayuda disponible para problemas con el juego. Llama al 888-789-7777 o visita ccpg.org. Juega responsablemente. En nombre de Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Debe ser mayor de 21 años. La elegibilidad varía según la jurisdicción. No válido en Ontario. Pueden aplicarse cargos en Illinois. Las apuestas de bonos son de un solo uso. La apuesta no se incluye en las ganancias y caducan después de ser otorgadas. La oferta finaliza el 29 de septiembre 2025 a las 11:59 p.m. hora del este. Los términos en DraftKings.com/sportsbook/promos.